Welcome everybody to the Daily High with Matt McGregor and Tone Vase. Wow, we saw some action in the last 24 hours. It's the price is basically where it was at yesterday, but in the interim we went up a couple of grand and dropped a couple of grand and came back to an equilibrium. Whew. Tone, did you sleep through most of it? I slept through most of the big move last night, and I got out of the trade, which I'm glad I did because it came back to the entry price where I was in anyway. And I have loaded back up now. But I just said to Tone before the show, I hate doing shows when I have to watch a second monitor here on my phone at least because the price is exactly sort of at my entry price around that mark where I'm only
Oh,
I'm
you there,
instead
Matt?
of yeah, mate. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. No, I
I
lost you for a second.
Yeah, it's a stormy here in Tokyo. But yeah, I tend to be doing these shows often where I'm in the price is exactly at the entry price. So we'll try and get through that. Tone, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'll be brief with my intro. I actually did catch a lot of that drop because I was just up super late last night. I'm about to go on the road, so I gotta set up a brand new laptop. This is the new Tone Vase laptop, and the cool thing about this bad boy is after I open it, and if I have table space, I can lift the keyboard off the laptop, and there is a second monitor underneath the
Wow.
keyboard, and then you can just put this thing up as a dual screen monitor. So I was setting up this bad boy, getting ready for the road, and I don't want to take my normal laptop, so this thing needs to be good to go. I'm going to try and do the show with this laptop tomorrow morning to make sure that works. So I caught a lot of the drop, but it is what we said it was going to be. Our concern was that anything that happens on Monday could be reversed on Tuesday once the stock market starts properly trading. So had we gone down a lot yesterday, I would not have been too scared. And even though we went up a lot yesterday, I personally was not too euphoric, waiting on FOMO. It's always great to see Bitcoin above 70. I don't know what it is. For some reason, it's like the biggest roller coaster right now. When it's above 70, you're so happy. When it's below 65, you're like totally scared. This was not the case when it was, let's say, 45 and 40, or even 35 and 30. I don't know what it is. There's something about this 65 versus 70 range that just completely messes with your emotions. And I was thinking about that this morning. And I think the reason is because if we start really moving above 70, we know that 100K is like the next milestone. But if we start to crash below 65, we all secretly know this shit can go to $30,000. But that wasn't the case when it was in the mid 40s or the mid 30s or even the low 50s. The same $5,000 range is so much more critical right now than at any other prior time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's I think that's spot on. But I mean the price is crashing right now. It's dropping right now. So can you start the charts? Yeah, I'll come back.
For future YouTube traders right there. Should I go to screen share?
Yeah, bye bye, bye bye.
All right, let's go to the screen share, guys. All right, future little maths right there. Okay. So, let's see where we are here. What chart is this? This is the 1 hour chart. I don't usually start with the low level time frames, but we are here. So as I already stated, this move above 70 had to be taken with a grain of salt. It happened in the middle of the day on a bank holiday in the US. And right now we're sitting in the between this range. It was nice to see a perfect rebound off of an hourly MRI buy. Right now, the current hour is looking bad, but this is the opening trading hour. And as you guys know, I love the 10 a.m. reversal possibility. So once again, I will wait on any conclusions on the price of Bitcoin until at least 2 p.m. Eastern time, maybe 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna, since I started with the 1 hour, I'm just gonna move up the time frames. Here's the 4 hour. We're in this zone between 67.5 and 69.5. I would like to see us stay in the zone until the end. You saw me put these arrows here. I purposely put the arrow as of today, not as of yesterday. So if we can move into 65.5 later today, sorry, 69.5 later today, I will think that we can challenge the all-time high and then pull back. It's not a big deal to stay in the zone between 67.5 and 69.5, but this zone is going to run out of real estate on June 3rd. So we're okay in the zone until June 3rd. If we stay in the zone past June 3rd, there may be some additional concerns. So for now, we are okay. Let's go to the daily chart. There's the new range on the daily chart. Today's candle is knocking us right to the middle of this new range. I'm still okay. The daily range goes down to the 65.5 zone. If we hit the 65.5 zone in the next 2 days, that's actually a beautiful pullback. Yes, there would be a double bottom versus the May 23rd and May 30th. It's a little too close to comfort, but that's okay. You can see that 50-period moving average has completely flatlined. I would like to see the 50-period moving average start to rise. We can see when that would be. If I hold the shift key, we got to go back 50 candles. Yeah, we're going to have to, we have about 5 more days. And then we're going to start knocking out some of the lower price bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 days from now, the 50 period should start rising. So we have this 4 to 5 day window where we can still consolidate, maybe even a little longer than that. I don't really want to see us break the 20 period day moving average either. So hopefully we're above that 69.5 come June 3rd, June 4th, and then we'll be off to the races. It'll give the modified Lucid SAR a chance to come down below 72.5. I think that's super important. I think it's really good that the modified Lucid SAR on the daily would come down lower than the highs on May 20th. I think that would be perfect to set everybody up for the nice bullish trade the moment we break 71.5 again. So I do like that. The allocation chart is still on 100% long. Nothing really to be concerned about. Now, if current candle closes red and the next candle, the next 4-day candle closes red still, I mean, that candle will close in the middle of the first week of June. Then I'll start to get a little concerned. But for now, everything is good. And the weekly chart is coming off a green star candle. This is a brand new weekly candle. Nothing really to be concerned about yet. As I've been saying, the green star candles have been very good to Bitcoin on the daily. So I don't expect much different. All right, Matt, any questions?
No, mate, that's perfect. I agree with a lot of that, and we'll jump into my analysis, I suppose.
All right, over to you.
Let's keep it short. We're gonna have to keep it short because the price is exactly at my entry price basically now. So before you go any further, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. In the description below, we have a link to the BitGet trading competition. Please join my team. We've got about 20 people in there who've joined already. I want to get that to over 100 and really have a really good shot at taking out first prize. I know some of the teams have like 5,000 people in them, but I think that this group, this learned group, we can do it. And please join the Discord group for more information and to great banter about the trading competition as it's going. All right, let's debrief and unwind. I only sort of half heard what you said, Tone. I'm so sorry. I'm normally really plugged in, but with the
No,
baby
you're good.
screaming it, and with the price moving the way it is. All right, so the trade, I'm going to get rid of these lines first of all. So this gray line right here at 67,839 was the trade that I was in. And then the price came up and I was looking really, really, really good. But when I woke up in the morning, the price closed here. That was when about 9 in the morning. I was watching it, and when it started to come down and got below 69, I thought, oh man, I'm still in point one profit, and there's a really good chance I'll be able to get back into the same trade that I was in. So I closed that trade out at point one profit. So I'm getting rid of these gray lines. I'm glad I did it throughout the day, obviously. It did come back down and get even lower than my entry price. So that's when you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, I suppose. I did all right there, but I didn't get all of this. So I didn't, it didn't do that well out of the trade, but it's a good day trade. All right. So this is my second trade attempt for the day. I did try and get in at about $100 lower than I got in about 67,800, we'll call it. And I got stopped out at about 67,555, I think it was. So I had a bad, slight loss today. And then when the price came back up, I was asleep. I had a cat nap in the middle of the day. And then when I woke up, the price was rallying and it just got me out just at the wrong spot. So I re-upped again. We had a really good move, but it's dropped down a little bit now. But we came back at the time, exactly touched on the 7 simple moving average on the 4 hour time frame, which rejected it big time. And now we're exactly back at my entry price at 67,998. The price is at that point right now. I I don't know. I This trade might be a loss for me, like in terms of depends how long this show goes for. I'm not going to hold it for a long time, but I'm still bullish on the market, right? I'm bullish. If it's not this one, if I get stopped, if I push close on my button right now, I'll just look for another entry at a different price. But the reason I took these trades, this one twice today, was because as long as we're above 67, we'll call it just 67,000. I'm still relatively bullish for the old trick of printing a higher low. That's that's the one trick pony move that I have all the time. The same reason I took this trade here was because it was higher than here. Same reason I took this trade here is because it was higher than here. But once that starts breaking that structure, then I have to start putting my mindset to lower moves or something else, a green diamond on a 4 hour or something, right? That's the 4 hour right now. All the moving averages they're not in order, but we're below three key moving averages here. It's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. It is just what it is, right? 12 hour, it's still the same situation. When we came down and crashed, we exactly hit on the 30 simple moving average, which was another reason I took the trade. I really liked that. And as that rises, that would be if you weren't as leveraged as I am and you're in this trade right now, if let's just say you were spot bought, well, that's a very simple trade. It changes the game completely when you're just spot buying because you can just put your stop loss here or whatever, and you should be pretty fine in this trade to sit through it. It's a very minimal kind of loss at worst, and you can raise that up as we go along. Whatever, as long as it's below here, you're fine, and below the 30 simple moving average on the 12 hour, you're fine. I'm leveraged to the gills, so I can't take that kind of move. But if you were less leveraged, you certainly could. Daily time frame, we're below the 7, and the 30 is about to cross the 50. That doesn't mean anything, but the MRI count's not positive, but it could become positive very quickly. Tone has probably been played this right. I mean, I've made money on this period of time, and I've lost a little bit of money. I'd give a bit back. But Tone called this his liminal space, as Fivo Swanee would say. He's no trade zone, and that's probably fair enough, unless you're real good or really, really well manage the positions. This is a great area to just get chopped up. It's not it's not ideal. Like I'm looking at the position right now. I might have to close it live on air. Yeah, that's the day. That's the daily, and I've just been watching, to be honest, the 15-minute time frame quite closely as well, because we had a really good MRI top when we kicked off this trade, which came down to an MRI buy, which had a go, but now it's fading again, and we've just gotten below the MRI support and resistance on this 15-minute, which is where I would have put my stop loss in if I had to put one in, if I wasn't just manually using discretion here. But yeah, I don't like. I don't want to get below here, basically. But it's so volatile. Like I could close the trade out here, and 2 seconds later we'd be back here. So just use caution. Don't do what I'm doing and using a hell of a lot of leverage, and just be careful. Tone, I'm coming back now. I might have to watch my phone for a minute, mate. So that's it. Do you want to have a look at the stock market as we open? You're muted, mate. You're muted.
Muted. Someone's asking in the live chat if we are trading in the US stock market after yesterday's holiday. We are. And we are coming up on 10 a.m. So, yes, Bitcoin could drop a little bit more, but I would be eyeing that 10 a.m. reversal. So, Matt, if you can hang in there a little longer, you see the stock market already starting to show some signs. The stock market opened right here. This was market open. And since market open, the market is down about 10 points and has a little more to go on the downside into 10 a.m. But then I think there's a high probability of reversal at 10 a.m. And if Bitcoin doesn't crash too much longer, maybe worth hanging in there 20 more minutes and giving it a shot for a reversal. Bigger picture on the S&P, I remain bullish on the S&P. Yes, there's a reversal candle last week. Yes, there was an extension B ending the week before. We got lots of big economic news coming later today. Not later today, sorry, later this week. We have PCE, which is important, GDP as well. So lots of economic news coming. Also next week will be unemployment. So lots of economic news coming. I still think the S&P can certainly pull back here as long as it doesn't make a lower low. It's all systems go and everything is bullish. Gold is pulled back to the moving average, is now reversing. Gold is likely to go higher, and oil is still consolidating. So that's a little surprising. I really thought the price of oil would be higher by now. Ethereum continues to rally. If Ethereum is rallying again tomorrow versus Bitcoin, I will go back to being bullish on Ethereum. I called the top on Ethereum yesterday. Today is a no trade zone. We've been hitting a lot of MRI tops across the daily, across the 4-hour chart. I think there was an MRI top over here, which has now been covered. We have a green star candle on the 4-hour. We could make one more minor MRI top on a 4-hour with Ethereum. I think it's going to top soon, but it needs to top in the next 12 hours, basically. Otherwise, it could go back to being bullish with this ETF soon to launch. I think what's keeping it bullish is the fact that nobody knows when the ETF is actually going to launch. And people are pre-running the Ethereum trade because the ETFs may need to buy this Ethereum ahead of time before the launch. And since no one knows when the launch is, no one really knows when this Ethereum is going to get bought. So there's still a lot of interest in Ethereum for now. But I do think it's a massive sell the news event once that ETF starts launching. Speaking of ETFs, real quick on the Bitcoin ETF, I don't have a screen share on that. Though you know what? Let me pull up screen share real quick, and that's how we're going to end it. I'm going to change screen share to the ETF. Haven't shown the ETF numbers in a while. You can see that in the first month of ETF's creation, 37,000 additional Bitcoin was purchased. In February, 111,000 Bitcoin was purchased for the ETFs, and in March, it was 67. Now, April was the first month where we had a negative inflow. So that means the ETFs across all of them have sold more Bitcoin than they have bought. That was in April. You can see the red is GBTC selling. But you can also see the last couple of weeks. In the last 4 weeks, so in the week ending May 3rd, GBTC sold for almost 5,000 Bitcoin, and we still had a big negative number. But since then, it's been pretty positive. Last week, GBTC did not sell any. and other ETFs bought 14,000. And sorry, this is last week. This is the week before. Last week, GBTC didn't sell almost any. They sold 350 Bitcoin. Other ETFs bought 16,000. And you can see how iShares, that's BlackRock's ETF, is now holding almost as many Bitcoin as Grayscale. It's only short by 2,000 Bitcoin. So by this time next week, I expect BlackRock to have more Bitcoin than Grayscale, and that's the first flippening. And eventually, Fidelity will catch up as well. So these are good numbers over the last 2 weeks. An additional 30,000 has been purchased, with only 3,000 being mined per week. That's a big, big deal. We get a couple of more of these weeks, and price will have nowhere to go but up. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Last week, the ETFs bought 5 times more Bitcoin that was mined, and that's a big deal. Eventually, that's not sustainable, and the price of Bitcoin has to dramatically rise to keep up. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Matt, close us out.
Nate, before you go, do you have any thoughts on Mt. Gox and the moving of the coins? I just saw on Twitter. I don't know anything about it. Have you seen that?
I will continue to say what I've been saying for 10 years. The Mt. Gox trustee is going to wait for everyone to die of old age before that Bitcoin is going to actually get into anybody's hands. Those coins have moved before, and those coins have still not sold. I have no idea what's going on there, but I'm happy that it's happening now, because these ETFs can actually eat up that Bitcoin. But I'm tired of thinking about Mt. Gox. When it happens, it happens. The liquidity of Bitcoin is getting to a point where that sale of 100,000 Bitcoin can easily be absorbed, and that's great. Though then again, that could be the reason why we're going to stay, in this $70,000 area for another 2 months, and then the bull market's going to begin towards the end of the summer. That's kind of what the historical charts have been pointing to anyway.
Yeah, well said, mate. All right, well, that's it. It's another great show in the books. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, the price bounces, but who knows? My trade's not looking great. I'm at point 0.01 minus at the moment, and I don't like going too much lower than that. I'm happy to ride it a lot higher than that, but I won't sit through much more pain. I'd rather go to bed and try again. Please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Please join the team for the trading competition. Links in the description below for BitGet's World Cup of Trading. Join the team. We're going to take our first prize and share the wealth. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you.